Students are back in school for the fall semester, and while focused on their academic success, you also want to make sure they are staying safe in their social life.
According to the U.S. Department of Justice, women ages 16 to 24 suffer from domestic violence at the highest rate. Among victims ages 18 to 24, about 30% of female murder victims were killed by their intimate partners. So to help parents and young adults learn the red flags to watch out for, we're talking with Leticia Manzano, the Houston Area Women's Center Sexual Assault Services Senior Manager and survivor. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So first, what we didn't get to talk to you about during the 6 a.m. hour is your personal survival story. So tell us a little bit about your personal, how you were personally affected by this.
Well, thank you for asking. I have become a lot more open and coming out publicly, although I've worked at the Women's Center as a counselor for a very long time, to say that it can happen to anyone, and it happened to me. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse by family members, and I'm also a survivor of dating violence in college.
It was just really hard to talk about. So thank you for finally getting that courage and doing it here on our broadcast so we can talk to others about it.
And I would imagine counseling, speaking with other victims who are going through this, I mean, obviously having that firsthand experience might help understand a lot of the feelings that you described. We also want to say you were awarded the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yes, so I said I've been working at the Women's Center for a really long time. I actually started working at the Women's Center right out of college. So I've been at Hawk for 26 years.
Wow.
And I have had the honor of working with thousands of survivors, either who have experienced sexual assault in childhood, in adulthood, teen dating violence, children who witnessed domestic violence, and domestic violence survivors. So I've seen it all. Yeah. I've seen it all, but I continue to do this work because I think having that support system is what's the most helpful. Having someone who can listen to you, not judge you, believe you, all of the things that family members and friends can do. We're trained to do it, and people want that confidentiality as well, and we offer that. And so I think that that's really helpful in helping survivors move forward from victimization to survivorhood.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Earlier this week, we learned about the student at Rice University, and we do believe that it was an apparent murder-suicide with someone she was in a dating relationship with. So how can people look for warning signs, specifically because she was young, she was a college student, so how could people around her have seen warning signs of this?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we don't think about a lot is that relationships, we can kind of grade them on a spectrum. What's healthy, what's unhealthy, and then what's abusive. And sometimes I think we mix up what's unhealthy with what is abusive. So having someone talk to you in a disrespectful manner can be really unhealthy. But when somebody does it to harm you, they do it intentionally, they do it to really reduce your self-esteem, your self-worth, and then of course the controlling behavior. I think jealousy being used as an excuse for love, extreme jealousy, is where that control can come from. And so seeing those warning signs and helping your friends, helping your daughter, your sister, know that these things are not okay, and that there are places online where they can go to read about it on their own. Because having worked with dating violence survivors, you don't want to hear it from other people, because the love that you feel for that person is so intense when you're young. If you think about your first relationships in high school or in college, the love is just so intense. You think that this is the best person for you.
Nobody else understands.
Nobody else, and nobody understands them. They have wrapped you up in their life, telling you how they need you, and only you understand. And so it's hard to talk to friends and family. So I think as a friend or family member, if you bring up the relationship and the person becomes defensive, that could be a warning sign that they are holding some secrets. And sometimes even the abuser is telling them to do that. Don't tell anybody I did this to you. I promise I'm not going to do it again. So even though we want to know what can friends or family do, what are the warning signs, it's really I want to talk more to the survivors and say, what are the things that you should look for? What are the red flags for you? Does this person call you out of your name? Do they call you, bad names like the B word or other things? Do they blame you for everything that happens? Everything is your fault. You can never get it right. Are you trying harder than that person? Right? Because I do believe that love is real, but sometimes at a young age we mix up our physical feelings, the good feelings, with the action of love.
Right.
Right.
And
Love
is
is
it
an
safe to
action.
say that since they're young, they don't have much to compare it to also?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I started dating when I was 16 and I thought I was going to marry this person. I thought this is it for me.
Right.
And for some people that does happen, but not for everyone. And so they have nothing to compare it to at a young age.
And I mean, young love, add this to the list of things to talk to your children about, because you're not thinking about, the message parents might say is don't date, you're too young to date. But maybe sort of having some of these discussions about what a healthy relationship looks like if it's not being modeled already in your home, or even if it is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the other thing. You're more likely to be in an abusive relationship if you've seen it at home because you're not talking about it. If you witness domestic violence growing up, if your parents, don't get along, sometimes you think that that's normal. And I want to talk about the other side. We're talking about the victim survivor, but also we need to talk about the perpetrator. We need to shift our focus and talk about prevention work with the ones who have gotten that message that it is okay to control, that is how you show love, that jealousy is a form of love. So there are lots of different programs, including at the Houston Area Women's Center. We do intervention work. Lots of people know we have a shelter and we have counseling and we have housing, but we also have a team of experts who go out to the community and do presentations on how to prevent it, and can talk to, because the majority of abuse is perpetrated by men and boys, talking to young men in the schools, in community centers, at churches, to get them to think about, what is a real man? And what is a good man? And which do you want to be?
Right, that's fantastic, and that's something that schools invite you onto their campuses to have. I've not heard of that. That's great.
Yeah. So once somebody does recognize that they might be in an abusive relationship, there's a lot of pride where, they might not want to come forward. It's almost like admitting they were wrong about somebody. So how, once they recognize that in themselves, how should they come forward with this struggle?
Yeah, and I like the way that you phrase that, because I think survivors do feel like something is wrong. They did something wrong,
but
feeling
they've been
guilty.
defending this person in some cases.
And so it's really shifting that focus of what's wrong with me, of what happened to me, what is happening to me, what is going on here. So really thinking about the situation versus who you are, reaching out to our hotline. And young people, we have a chat. If you go to our website at hawk.org, HAWC.org, they can chat with somebody. So it's not making that phone call. Young people these days don't want to pick up their phone.
You don't have to hear your voice.
And it's like instant.
Yeah, and you don't have to give your real name even. Like, we just want to talk. We just want to answer questions. We want to give you information, and we want to be there for you 24/7. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you just had a fight, with the person that you love and who says loves you, and you need to reach out to somebody to see, is this wrong? Chat us. Chat at us.
Great idea.
Right
at
on
HAWC.org.
All right, Leticia Manzano, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you both.
It was great information. Thank you.
Yeah, now we want to take a look at our website, click2houston.com, because we do have a lot of articles and resources for domestic abuse here under our Breaking Free section. And you can find them either by scanning that QR code at the bottom of your screen or by searching using the words Breaking Free on our homepage.